Hello, my name is Maya Lisa Miliares, and I'm the Executive Director of Doing Good Together. I'm really grateful to have you here today for our webinar, Weaving Kindness into Everyday Family Life. You probably heard about this webinar through our Festival of Giving, which featured Dan Sachs and the Noodle Loaf podcast, but if you haven't seen it, it's a wonderful video and it's available on replay through the end of October, so enjoy. I want to thank our sponsors first and foremost for making this Festival of Giving just a wonderful opportunity for families and for kids. So a big thank you to Piper Sandler, to All Seasons Preschool, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota, St. Paul and Minnesota Foundation, Casa de Corazon, Including You, New Horizons, and Kowalski's. We're so grateful for your support. It really means everything to us. For today and our session, we're going to talk a little bit about who Doing Good Together is, just to give you an overview of what we do, our mission and our programs, and then why should we prioritize raising kind kids? We want to do a little bit about joyful compassion building projects to give you some ideas to incorporate this into your life. And then how can we inspire our children for living generously? So let's start with our mission. At Doing Good Together, we're a national nonprofit which is based in Minnesota, and we empower families to raise generous, thoughtful, engaged children by offering opportunities to practice kindness and serve others together. At Doing Good Together, we have a number of different programs. One of them is our volunteer listings, which is active in 10 different cities and provides curated volunteer listings of opportunities where you can volunteer with your kids. You are actually able to go out into the community and take your kids with you and share that volunteering opportunity. Some of the feedback that we've gotten from this program has really been profound. One person says, we had spent hours navigating the web, very often finding projects that wouldn't allow kids his age to participate. Another person says, the diversity of the projects Doing Good Together presents allowed my son to quickly identify an opportunity that was meaningful to him. Receiving the monthly emails allows me to show my kids that there's always something we can do for others. A big thank you to all those who work at DGT. This is a great program if you're looking to find ways to engage your family actively. And we have a good mix of opportunities, things that are virtual, things that are in person, and lots of different opportunities to find something really special that will work for your family. One of our other programs is Parenting with Purpose. So we have kind of 4 steps to this program. We try to nurture daily habits. We read widely together, and we have these beautiful book lists where we've taken all kinds of books under different topics and put them together with conversation starters. So you can have really reflective, wonderful conversations with your kids with guided prompts. And then we have projects that match all of those books as well. So an opportunity to really do some service projects from your own home in an easy way with printables, with directions listed right out there for you. We also tie all of these things together with a lovely blog that comes out every other month and our newsletter that goes out to all of our subscribers so that they have an opportunity to see the different projects and the different book lists connected to the topics that we're thinking about that particular month. Finally, we have our family service fair option. This is something that we do with schools and that we do with communities in general. We're hired to come out and put together a fair where families do service projects together. We usually have a number of different stations that are set up, and we work with the nonprofits to make sure that they're getting projects that will be really helpful for their community. So the kids are doing the service and then leaving the project there with the nonprofits to help the community. It's a really powerful way to engage with your kids. There's thoughtful reflection, community building, and it's just quality family time together and that great feeling that you're doing something wonderful. You are. You're helping the community in general. So I want you to think a little bit about what kinds of volunteer opportunities or experiences you've had. I know this is a webinar, so we can't really talk with one another, but think a little bit about the different volunteering opportunities you've had and ways that that has impacted you, because most of the time, volunteering opportunities are really quite profound. One of the ones that I love to share is that I used to go with my family to nursing homes to help my grandmother and my grandfather try to connect when they were steeped in dementia and Alzheimer's. And it was just a really profound experience to be able to connect with the communities there. I still take my children to nursing homes to be able to connect, and still can think about my oldest daughter when she was just tiny going out and saying, "All right, everyone, let's sing together." And the community just loving that connection and being able to do things with young children. It's just a joy. And my young children learned so much from engaging with an older community. So think about those volunteering experiences and how that really helped to spread kindness in your own life. That's why we're doing this work. That that good feeling that you get being able to participate and help others is what drives this kind of work. So let's think a little bit more about what is a kindness practice and how does service and routine and reflection and reading have to do with that practice of kindness? So I like to think that there are four components in a kindness practice. The first one being service, the idea that you can go out into the community and do something really profound and powerful, or that you can do something from the comfort of your own home that's going to inspire and help others. There's lots of different ways to engage in service. You can pick what's right for your family in that moment, in that time. There's routine, the idea that you're going to do something over and over again. It's wonderful if you do service once, but it's fleeting, right? When you start to incorporate something into your weekly, monthly, yearly routine, when it becomes something your kids say, well, we have to do this because it's important to us. That's the kind of engagement that helps to build routines around compassion and inquiry and helps us to really respect role models and core values. Conversation, reflection is that opportunity to take things further, to really discuss with your children what just happened. There's opportunity to have them ask questions and to engage. And this kind of conversation, this is the values based conversation that you want to be having with your kids on a regular basis. And what's so great about service is there's an opportunity to talk about real world issues in a values based way and engage your kids in doing good on a regular basis, spreading kindness. And by reflecting on that, you're taking the learning even further. And then finally reading, right? So incorporating that learning a little bit further by reading more books, by engaging the kids, by continuing that conversation. So these are kind of the components that we think about when we think about a kindness practice. What's your why? What are the benefits of weaving a focus on practicing kindness and service into your family's life? Right? You've already thought a little bit about when you volunteered, right? And what that was for you, how that was meaningful for you, but think a little bit about why you want to bring this into your child's life. Is it tied to that great emotion that you have from volunteering in your own personal life? Or maybe have you not had the opportunity to do that and you want that opportunity for your kids? Is this something you want to establish on a regular basis so that your kids will be someone who's steeped in giving back and will understand that kind of philanthropy? There is a power that's associated with the kindness practice. I think that it helps meet immediate needs within the community, which is incredibly powerful. It makes us healthier and much happier. It's amazing how when you do something good for others, it makes you feel good, doesn't it? It really does. It makes me feel good when I go out and I do something, and it's actually linked to brain science now, right? And when you practice that over and over and over again, you're engaging your brain and building empathy, making connections. We need empathy and connections more than ever now. After this pandemic that has hit, it's really important that we're connecting with others and that we're helping those who need our help. Everyone needs help once in a while. Helps to break down stereotypes. It teaches values and counteracts entitlement in kids. It sparks important conversations, the kinds of conversations that we want to be having with our children, the values based conversations that are so important to us as parents. And then it develops lifelong habits of giving back. And that's what I want for my kids. I want to help others. I want to spread kindness. And so by doing this, by modeling this on a regular basis and making it routine in our lives, I'm setting the groundwork for doing that. From home to the world, I want to talk a little bit about practicing kindness through service, reflection, everyday routines, and great books. Why? Because it builds compassion, it inspires upstanders, kids who are able to stand up to some of the challenges that are there that we're faced with in everyday life, helps to meet current needs in the community, increases resilience of communities, and it empowers the next generation of givers, parents, leaders, and peacemakers. I want you to look at this graphic that we have here. This compassion building families activity that we do really talks about the circle of concern. You know, when you think about yourself, when you think about a young child, they're very concerned about themselves, right? All of the questions have to do with me, me, me. And we work hard as parents to get them outside of that kind of egocentric bubble and reaching out to their family. And that's the first way to start, right? So, starting with you, then reaching out to your family and friends, trying to help them, moving forward and reaching out to the neighborhood and engaging people in the neighborhood is the next step. Next step is really reaching out to the community and then the region and the nation. And then finally, the world, right? The planet, its people. These are all different levels of the circle of concern. And it's important to engage kids in these different levels. And it's easier to start small and to kind of grow bigger as they start to understand the process of service and compassion and kindness. So, what is your challenge? I want you to think a little bit about what stands in the way of a family volunteering and kindness practice in your house. There's so many that people can name. People have named all kinds of things like time. Time is a huge one. How do I fit this into my schedule, Maya? I hear that all the time. There's too much that we're asked to do in everyday life. And I would say I agree with you. There's so much on our plates. That's why it's so important to take some time to calendar your kindness, because by putting it on your calendar, by actually setting a time on your Google Calendar to be able to spend some time with your kids in pursuit of service or kindness, you're able to overlap some of those other things that you're doing. You're already probably sitting down for a meal at some point during the day. Why not have a really good conversation then with some conversation starters? You're already having your children draw pictures on a regular basis. Why not take those pictures and donate them to a nursing home? Right? There are ways to overlap our calendar when we think about it really carefully so that we're able to engage in kindness, to engage in service, and to fit it into our already busy lives because this is so important and it needs to have a space on our calendars. So, how do we add that kindness at home? I love this graphic, this add kindness to family routines. And this one's on our website. And it talks about ways to do this in the car and over breakfast, during dinner, and before bedtime. These are great methods to go ahead and incorporate mindfulness, kindness, and giving back. Let's just read a couple examples here. Adopt a brief mindfulness practice, such as enjoying a minute of silence at the breakfast table or taking 5 slow, deep breaths together while putting on shoes. I mean, we all have to put on our shoes, and yet you can add that mindfulness piece to it very easily. Here's another one. Give your children a compliment and remind them to give one to somebody else during the day. What an easy way to go ahead and send your child off to school with a really good, kind thought. So I think part of this is about noticing the needs of others, right? We need our children to step outside that little circle of themselves and realize that there are people beyond themselves, right? Going back to that circle of concern. So thinking about others and asking questions that helps them to reach outside that basic circle of concern. Showing respect for everyone else, modeling that is a huge piece of the kindness routine. By modeling as parents, we're teaching our kids over and over, and sometimes it takes some modeling over and again to be able to get kids to follow in suit, but it does work. It just takes some time. I'm a big fan of assigning chores. I have 3 kiddos, and they all have chores each day. It's really important to be able to show them that they have a responsibility in our community, in our family community, to be able to be a part of things. Even my little 3-year-old folds some towels with me and matches socks with me because those are things that she can do and contribute, and she does a great job with that. And your kids can too. Having them help sweep up and having them help clean the counters or help you set the table. Um, Making place cards for dinner, all kinds of things that kids can do to be able to have a little ownership as part of the family because as parents, we're doing things for kids on a regular basis. And to be part of a community, you really need to have a stake in what's going on. And kids have the ability to do a lot more than we give them credit for. So giving them some of that responsibility and ownership, I think, is a great way to start kindness. And then, of course, gratitude. Incorporating gratitude into everyday life is so important. One of the very easy things that we do at my household is we actually do gratitude at breakfast. So when we have breakfast, I usually read a little passage from the book about gratitude. And then I ask my kids what they're thankful for. And that question takes many different forms. We have lots of different resources and tools at Doing Good Together to help with those gratitude questions. And I have different ones for different seasons. And the kids reflect about how they're grateful that they have a home, that they're grateful for their family, but they're grateful for their shoes and their clothes and things like that. It's just really eye-opening to see what comes out of their mouths and how grateful they can be, and then how they start to do it themselves without my help. They start asking the question when we're with larger groups of people, "What are you grateful for?" It's nice to see that modeling work. And then finally, center questions on kindness and service. So sometimes my questions deal with gratitude, but sometimes they deal with kindness or service and giving back to the community and thinking about our abundance and how we can share some of that. One of the things that I like to do as a part of a family is to create a family mission statement. Get everyone in your house together and have a sit down family meeting. Maybe once a week, maybe once a month. I like the routine piece of it, where you have an opportunity to connect together and to think a little bit about what the week is going to be like. What is each person going to focus on? What is our family mission statement? What do we as a group stand for? And then go back to it each time that you have that meeting and see, has that shifted at all? Are there other things that we want to embrace, or is that something that has stayed steadfast for the time that we spend meeting together? Read, read, read is another piece. We have these great book lists, and I love to leverage them because they're just wonderful. And you can find a book unit. You can go to the library, pick up all of the books, and then ask the reflective questions of your kids. They're great to read before bed or just on a weekend, and to really focus on some of these topics like mindfulness, peacemakers, social justice. These are topics that are just great to have good conversations with your kids. Another thing that we do at our home is start a giving jar. So you can make a giving jar in lots of different ways. You can use a box and simply make a slit at the top. And we actually have some directions on our website as to how to make a giving jar. Or you can just take an old a plastic or glass jar with a lid and then put a slit on the top of it to be able to collect some coins and some money. Um, from the kids. And when we do this, we really work together to find um, a place that we want to donate the money to collectively, something that matters to the kids. I let them kind of drive the conversation about what's important to them in this season. And where would they like this money to go? And they're very reflective and responsible about it. They really want to take the time to make sure that they are thinking about how they're going to use this money and spend this money to help others. And it's really sweet to see how thoughtful they are about their donation and how seriously they take giving this money to a good cause. Adopt a food pantry. So it's really another wonderful time of year to be helping food pantries. Food pantries have lists where they can tell you what they really need. And this is a great one. You can go to the store and you can take that list and go ahead and purchase extra food for the food pantry. Or you can simply go through your shelves to see what you might have that meets the needs that the food pantry has. We have some great online resources for scavenger hunts to do for your own food pantry to create your own little bag of giving to a food pantry. And if you adopt a food pantry, you can have a regular relationship with them where you're going on a weekly, monthly, bi-monthly basis to bring some essentials to help others. And it just prompts a really good conversation about what our needs are and about food insecurity and ways that we can help. And then, of course, sending magic mail is what we call it. If you Google DGT magic mail, you'll find all kinds of um, cool pictures of what a magic mail station can look like. But what we have in our house are lots of different canisters with markers and crayons, and then a little station where we have labels that are pre printed, and we have sheets where the kids can color or draw, and we send these off to veterans or to elder communities where people will really enjoy the artwork that my kids put so much time and energy into. We have at Doing Good Together lots of printables with all of those labels and sheets so that you can easily create your own magic mail station. Let's move on to kindness in our community. We've talked a bunch about kindness in our home and how we can start with that kind of inner circle beyond ourselves of our family and our friends. But let's move out to our community here. Um, you know, what are the needs and challenges in my community and how can our family help? That's one of the questions that we like to ask families and kids because it really engages them in thinking thoroughly through what are the challenges and how they can really lend a helping hand to people who need it. So, one of the ways that we like to do this is share gratitude with community helpers. We have some great links that I can include in a sheet along with this that basically show ways to create little stations or give thank you cards to postal workers, to UPS drivers, to people who drop things off at your house, or other community helpers to say thank you. There's ways to have um, little bags of markers and papers for your kiddos so that when you go to a restaurant, they can make a little card for the waitress or waiter at the table to be able to say thank you for all that they do. Sponsor a hunger relief effort. This is another opportunity to help, and this might involve doing some kind of a 5K or a walk for a cause, or it can be just donating your giving box or jar money to a relief effort regarding hunger. Making cheerful cards for hospital patients is another one. It's another way your kids can really reach out to the community. Cooking a meal for a local shelter or even helping to serve a meal is another great one. Going to Feed My Starving Children and helping to make meals together. Kids 5 and up can participate if you're Minnesota based. Um, and then hosting a book drive or a food drive or a clothing drive for a local organization. You can really inspire your kids to be able to do this kind of a thing with their class. If you get them really interested in something, you can engage the class and the teacher in really working hard to try to pull something together where your child takes a leadership role in engaging the kiddos in their class and the community. And I think that's a really powerful kind of lesson for kids to learn. Then, of course, we move to our next level, kindness in your region or your nation. So ask your kids, what are the challenges facing my nation and how can I help? Right? So taking them from that community base to beyond. Encourage 180. So really think about how would you feel if you were in someone else's shoes, right? Share good news. Who's making a difference about how our problems are being solved? By asking those questions, by sharing good news, you can inspire your kids to be able to be the people who are helpers in the world as well. And then get involved with organizations that really make a difference by serving, donating, and advocating. And I'll put some links as well that you can find on our website to be able to do those activities. Then of course we have kindness for the planet as we kind of work our way out in that um, in that circle of concern. So we ask the kids, how can we protect and share resources for the good of all people? So thinking a little bit about that, reading about this, educating yourself and your kids about environments and the environmental justice pieces, and then recommitting to a green habit at home, right? So thinking about what that might be and what's right for your family, whether that involves using less plastic or recycling more. Another one would be cleaning up a green space outside. So really taking some time to clean up the yard and create a nice space, or even a local area. Engage with local organizations to help the planet and to for some good for all people. And then read about environmental heroes as well. I would say the essential tips that we have to inspire kind kids would be start now, right? Don't wait until tomorrow. Start today. And if this feels overwhelming, start with something small. Be intentional about it. Just taking a breath when you sit down for a meal, taking 5 breaths when you tie your shoe, right? Asking your kids about gratitude on a regular basis, or taking their pictures over to the nursing home for the first time. Start now. Be intentional. Read with your kids and read to a specific topic so that they can get kind of saturated in one topic and really explore it with you. Model, preach what you practice, right? So that they can see how it makes a difference. And use moments in everyday life to teach your kids on a regular basis, where you emphasize the importance of kindness. As we bring this webinar to a close, I just want to say thank you for prioritizing kindness. It's parents like you that put kindness first and service first, and we're just grateful to be connected with you. I hope that you got some additional gold nuggets from this webinar to add to what's probably an already existing practice for you as a parent. If you like the work that we're doing here at Doing Good Together, you can find us at doinggoodtogether.org. Please like us on Facebook, like us on Instagram and Twitter and Pinterest. Feel free to donate to our site. And if you want to even get more information from Doing Good Together, you can become one of our members. We have a membership that's quite exciting. We have weekly reminders for our members to calendar your kindness with ideas with each reminder. We have a library filled with additional resources that are not on our website. And if DGT has inspired you to do something service-oriented or something kind in your community, please share your story with us. We want to hear about it. Share your story on our webpage and tell us about it so that we can continue to spread ripples of kindness through the community. Thank you for all that you do with your families and all that you do in supporting us as an organization, and we'll see you next time.